think like most people, I'm still trying to figure out how this AI and me coding thing is going to work. What it really turns into, I think, is we really let AI take the reins of the code that we want to generate, and then we kind of just turn a blind eye. So what that ends up doing is making my website a mess. So I recently did do this. So I have Claude Code. I use Claude Code pretty frequently, and I use it for work as well. But the thing is, you just let it go, you give it some specs, and you let it do its thing. But I'm going to take some time to actually review the code today and go through and fix things that either were from older versions of Claude that wasn't very good, or was just something that like, oh, this seemed like a good idea, or I just didn't know, so I just kept telling Claude to go. So this is more than just like refactoring. This is kind of going through what I think is happening behind the scenes with my own code and then fixing it. So I'm going to be doing a lot of cleaning, a lot of making this work better, and just working through some code. So I'm looking forward to this because one of my goals, ideally this year, ideally in the next couple of months, is that I can open source my website, nlvcodes.com. So it's a very good and robust example of how Next.js and Payload work together and how we can do more than just manage content on a website. So I know a lot of people look at it and they want to see an example of it, but really I'm just embarrassed by the code. So that's what we're here to fix tonight. I'll be looking through as much as possible, line by line, and figuring out what's actually happening in my repo. Because I don't know what's happening in my repo. So we're going to figure that out together. And I think we can just get started with some code here. And really the best way I think I'm going to do this is start with our payload situation here. So I've got these collections. The one thing, or the things that I won't touch, are any user collections or authentication collections. So, excuse me, my application uses BetterAuth for my magic links. But it also has like a normal user flow as well. But I don't want to touch those because that can break core functionality. And that's something that would need something a little bit more like thought through and figure out how to actually do that in a way that doesn't break my website. So we won't start with any of these authentication things, but we can start with categories. So I can look in here. We have hooks and we have our config. And so one thing right away, first of all, let's see if I can wrap this. Yes, I can. So I'm cool with a lot of this. First, we can replace this. So it has the @alias. And then we've got our categories after change and after delete. So these are deleting my categories and purging the cache from them. And the slug field here is actually something that is something that I created before the slug field existed. So I think this is something that we can replace as well. So categories is probably the best place to test this, honestly. So I'm going to log in. Man, I already lost that. Admin. And so as that loads up here, I can see that read is set to true, which is fine really, but I believe I'm overriding the read access wherever categories is called. So this may not even be necessary, but that's something that we can actually test in a little bit. So let's go here. And once this loads up, we should see categories just fine. So I'm going to leave that as true, and then I need to sign out of this because I need to sign in here. And then use my super secure password for my local host. All right, so if we're going to look at categories, I've got a couple here. And we're going to keep read as the default, which if you hover over, oh, it's not even included. Default is authenticated user. So that gets overridden by my override access, which is defaulted to true for any find, create, anything like that. So we're going to then look for our slug field because I want to use the payload slug field. So honestly, that means I can do, well, let's just not break anything right now. So let's import slug field from payload, which actually we can do type and then slug field up here, remove that, and then here we can change this to be use as slug name. All right, so now I'm going to need to generate my import map. So we're probably going to get an error clicking into here. Oh no, it worked. Great. Oh, right, because I have slug field generated elsewhere. Perfect. So the slug field looks like it's working as intended, which means we can get rid of that. So the goal with all of this is to get rid of that slug field utility function that Claude created, and just use the one that's built in with payload. And I have some tests that should make sure that everything builds fine, but we're not worried about that yet. All right, so we can look through here. I've got content and I've got SEO. The SEO tab is blank. And so if I go down here, it says it'll be automatically added by the SEO plugin. That didn't happen because I don't think I did it correctly. So the thing is, I don't know if I'll ever use this categories, like the categories as a page, because I do have, well, I do have categories, and category, payload CMS tutorials. Okay, so I do have slugs there. So the SEO, though, is generated programmatically, so it's taking other parts of the page for this to work. But if I did want to override that, I wouldn't have a way to do it. And I think there's a space here. Why is config there? Is that on my live site? NLV codes. So I can stay signed in here. Go to all categories, home config. Okay, so that's one thing to fix. Config. I have to be careful not to share secrets here because that happens. So if we do config. Oh, I understand what happened. Okay, so I recently changed my file structure here to the best practice of having a config.ts file. That screwed some stuff up. So that should actually say category. So, oh, I need to go back. Give me a second. I will answer your question here. I just want to get to what I was working on. So this is in the bread crumb. I don't see any secrets. So what I'm doing is just finding in files and then replacing this with category. So if I save that and then refresh, I get category again. All right, so to answer your question, am I building for, let me actually look over here. Refresh. Because I want to make sure I read this question, but my comments are over here right now. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to deal with it over here. So am I building for humans or scrapers as my priority? Any particular patterns to enhance for LLM results? So I'm primarily building for humans with this project. And the reason is I I position myself as like a coding educator, and robots don't need to know how to code, they already know. So for me, my main target is humans, but I do understand, me included, that humans use AI agents to figure stuff out. So that being said, I always make sure, and this is debatable, so don't take this as like truth. The schema markup on a page can help LLMs and search engines, so that's the main reason I have schema markup on my website, can help agents know what a site is about before it starts to crawl it. So there are other ways. Cloudflare has HTML to Markdown as like an edge converter, essentially, that you can use to make your website a little bit more understandable by agents and humans. But I've always been of the mindset, design for humans first, robots second. So I grew up. My main source of income for the past like 15 or 16 years has been digital marketing and SEO. So for me, and knowing technical SEO, I know that a lot of the work that is done behind the scenes for technical SEO, most people won't see. And that's okay. The robots will see it, and they're the ones who need to see it. But that being said, I want humans to be able to consume my website. So that means I need to focus on accessibility. I need to focus on making the color palette pleasing. I need to focus on powerful and meaningful content on the site. So that's a long roundabout way to say I built for humans, and for LLMs, there are several different ways that you can get ahead with those. Not necessarily in LLMs.txt, that kind of came up out of nowhere. There are other ways. I think Markdown is probably the best way to do it. And then also including maybe a way for the agents to communicate with your site through maybe like an MCP server, or if you have software, maybe a skill that can help people understand how that software works. So hopefully that answered your question. I kind of rambled a little bit there. Off-page, yes. So this comment says off-page SEO is dead. Very much so. On-page, I think, still is. And I'm going to go a little bit more in on this. So off-page SEO, yes, it's just link building, whatever. It's just whatever. Link building's been gone for a long time. I think people have just been hanging on to it for a very long time. But on-page, people, I think, underestimate on-page SEO in favor of like the sexier things, like, oh, I built 10 links and my Ahrefs score is increasing by 5 points per quarter, whatever. None of that really matters. But what does matter is that people can actually use your site. So page speed needs to be on point. Your alt descriptions is an accessibility feature. People need that so they can communicate and consume your website. Other things. Schema is still important for structured data, so robots know how to consume that structured data with minimal resources. So I think any agent or LLM or whatever can go through and crawl a website, but if you want it to be easy and you want it to be like an efficient process, you need to have that stuff. So, and I'm not talking about like meta titles and descriptions. I think those are important, but more again for like, I'm not sharing my screen. For things like this up here, like I don't want this to say like no title or just title or whatever. Like these are the things that still matter because people have become accustomed to it for how they browse the internet. So that's not necessarily for LLMs, that's for people. So it's a balance of both. Okay, let's see. Got some other comments here. It's just you two though. Most people are doing it with the slot at the top of the engine, switching from the 90s. I figure I don't need much of the web traffic. Okay, if that makes sense. 90% I use sites for reference all the time. So I do use some RSS feed aggregators, but it's for information purposes. So I also use sites for inspiration, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, I'm a developer, so of course I still consume what I create a little bit. So the web is not dead by any stretch, but how people are using it is different. I do think that we, at least in the development crowd, are a little bit more in tune with what's happening with AI. I don't think the general public is using ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that. I mean, yes, this is conjecture. I'm a YouTuber. I've got opinions. So regardless, I have not done a full study on this. Like, I'm sure someone will in the next couple of years. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not trusting LLMs as a consumer. I'm not trusting LLMs to make purchases for me. I am definitely not giving them my bank information. So that's out of, like, that's just, I mean, that's not, all right, moving on. Okay, so next thing I see here, when starting my Payload CMS project, it takes up to 50 seconds to compile the first visit locally. No, this doesn't happen to me. So even this project, I mean, it wasn't fast. It took, so for the admin panel, it took about 20 seconds. So I think that's going to depend on your hardware. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. So back to this. All right, so SEO here, I've got SEO fields will be added automatically by the SEO plugin. I'm okay with the SEO that this is doing. So let's take a look. At the head here, we have name, description. Wait, where's my link script? Oh, I don't even see. I don't see a title or anything on this page. So let's take a look on the front end. We're going to go to categories here. All right. Okay, so I need to fix this too, but we will come back to that. Do we have tutorial config? This should be categories too. Metadata should be type. And my IDE is inferring that type, but I will do it explicitly. Tutorial categories. Yes, let me go over to my package.json. Somewhere in here. Again, this website is a mess, so got some stuff to clean up. So my versions here, so 380 for payload, and then I think it's 15, I don't even use this, 15.4.11 for next. So there you go. All right, back to categories here. So if I go back to my categories home config, so this is also going to be categories page client. We got our breadcrumbs here. Should be categories. So that's updated there. I didn't expect this to be so complicated. Yes, I feel that. Most of my websites nowadays are messes at this point. So that's okay, but they're not slop. They are functional and they do things. All right, so now we're here. We're looking for individual categories page client. Where is this SEO information coming from? Payload CMS, Tailwind CSS, Next.js. So it's got the information. ADB. We got a source there. Yes, we have metadata. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring up Chrome real quick. So I don't normally like using Chrome, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna go, and I'll show my screen in just a second. Sign out. All right. So we go to the right half, and I'm gonna go to my categories, payload CMS. All right, so I could not find my meta information here. So I've got viewport. Oh, there's the title description. Okay, I was just blind. All right, so tutorial categories, but where is it coming from? Because it's not this browse payload CMS tutorials. It must be then. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I was just in the wrong place. So here we've got our generate metadata. This has what we need. All right, learn. Okay, which that means for especially categories, I don't need, the whole purpose of going through all of that was I don't need SEO. So I can get rid of this and then come back to my beautiful Safari. All right. So then editing, and then we just have this content tab, which in this case, let me make sure that this isn't nested. I don't think it is. It's not, so I'm gonna get rid of the content tab. So we can type tab. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Oh, I just need to do that. Then I believe get rid of this and this. Always the worst. Oh, I don't need this either. Fields. I believe I get rid of this and we should be good. And this. There we go. All right, so that should get rid of content, which should make this look a lot more clean. All right, so that's good here. And I feel good. Podcast relationship, tutorials relationship, tutorials in this category. Oh, let me go to Tailwind. Then if I look at the API, I don't see tutorials in this category. Oh, it's used for a relationship field, so I don't need to worry about that either. Great, so let's move on to the next config. So, well, we can look at revalidate pages real quick, or revalidate categories. I don't know what this does. Payload disable revalidation. This is definitely probably something from Claude, but it is not something that I use. So I'm going to delete this. Great. Where am I? Revalidate categories. Okay, so category cache, revalidate tag, and yes, I am using payload Next 15 because Next.js 16 does not fully support payload yet, but I will start looking to switching once I can do cache components. So that's going to be a while, I think, but unstable cache and revalidate tag, revalidate path, all of that works still just great. Okay, so validate categories, cache, popular categories. So that's down here where my most filled out tutorial content is. So that revalidates that. And then the same thing happens with delete where I don't need that. we thread in the request object, and we get our logger from it, and then we delete everything. So I don't think we can return the doc, but I guess we can. That's fine. All right, so let's look here in the chat. I'm currently trying to merge the generated metadata with an open graph image. Came across this by chance. Docs are trying to merge. Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah. So I have this generate meta function, which I totally stole from the Payload website template. So I would look there because we should have get image URL. They have a way to merge, and I just don't see it in my stuff right now. So that may actually not be something that I have in this project, but take a look at the Payload website template. That might have what you're looking for. All right, so we've cleaned up our categories. I'm feeling good. It looks like I actually wrote this code, at least for the most part. So our categories and hooks are done. So courses, we can do the same thing here. We're going to start with the hooks because I know this has been added. Okay, so this after thing comes from Next, and was something that I needed to do in order to get rid of some errors. So I would not say that this is something that normally needs to happen, but I was just getting some, I guess, synchronization errors is probably the best way to put it, where just things were being called out of order from an older container. So this is deployed with Docker. I'm not the best with Docker yet, so this was kind of a workaround that will eventually change. But we do have revalidate course, which has collection after change hook. We don't have a delete one though. So let's go ahead and write that. So we can export const delete course collection after delete hook. This doesn't need to be asynchronous, but we're going to do it anyway. And we can get our doc and then our request. This should actually also be a request. Because I want this to be a request payload logger. Oh, I don't get an error if I do that though. Interesting. All right, so I wonder. Oh, maybe that's just error. Oh yeah, catch error right there. I'm a little slow sometimes. Delete course. All right, and then we're going to just take essentially our category here. We don't need to revalidate tag. We will revalidate path. So I did something wrong with equals async. Oh, yep. Go. So then I can do revalidated course cache after course was deleted, error revalidating courses, return doc. All right, and then we just really need our current slug. And then we can revalidate path. That's not what I told you to do. Revalidate path, courses, current slug. And so that should fix that. We can go then to, oh, it's there. Claude is weird sometimes. So let's just delete that. let's cut this, paste it here. So I really just need one file for this. I don't need the two. So if I go to my config, we can get rid of the terminal here. Delete. Delete course after delete. Perfect. So then I can delete this file, and I've got my hooks set up. All right, easy enough. We have documents. I've not used first, I have not updated the config here. All right, so we've got courses. I do have drafts for my courses. Why did that go to light mode? Yes, I agree. So yeah, I've kind of dropped off from streaming a little bit, but I try to do this weekly at the very least, and then I'll chop this up and have another video come out. But I think you're right. I think we're, again, so, oops, opening stuff I don't want to open. I think we're over-indexed on AI a little bit. I do see a lot of value, and I do think it's, I'm probably going to get flamed for saying this, but I do think AI is a net positive. It speeds me up. It prevents me from having roadblocks. I'm able to plan and be strategic a little bit more fluidly, like having a good conversation with myself, essentially, with something that answers. But at the end of the day, I need humans. So, and the human perspective as well. So more to what you're saying there. It's valuable to be able to talk to people and hear different perspectives and not just get the generic mumbo jumbo that we often get from AI. So for better or for worse, I do think AI is here for the long haul, but I do think that we need to be sure that humans are always in the loop, because humans are more important than robots, in my opinion. And I know that's probably controversial. Okay. So, oh, courses, that's what we're here to fix. So we can go back to, or we can go to our courses, and we got a test here. All right, so we can take a look. I don't think that this has anything private in it. It does not. Okay. So let's take a look. This was one of the more recently added things to my website. So let's see what we have. Okay, I understand what's happening now. All right, so these are courses, singular, plural, use as title. So here we have the slug field. Is this our slug field? It is. So we're good there. We have our read, our create, update, and delete are checking if whoever is browsing is of the user collection, which is all of the admins that I have. So outside of that, anybody can read an active or a pre-release course. So what that ends up looking like is this. So I am logged in. How am I logged back? Oh, I'm logged in because that. So if I do sign out, I can still see it. I can still go to it. So this is pre-release, coming soon, but it is still active. Compared to this, oh, this is free. I could change it to draft and it would disappear. So that's all this is saying. Status active. And then archived would take it away as well. All right, so admins can read all, including drafts. Public can read I will leave that comment. I did not write that comment, but I think it's a good one. All right, so now we have our fields. What I may end up doing, actually I may not. I'm thinking about my stripe fields over here, but I think those are fine where they are, because in full screen it looks fine. I'm mostly in half screen because I'm demonstrating, but I can do that and we can see everything. So we have a way to get back to stripe. I hope, well, this is in testing, so that doesn't matter. I was gonna say, I hope this isn't a secret. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even exist. All right, so title, excerpt, short description, and meta tags, and course cards. That's fine. Content looks good. Full sales page content. Student testimonials. I haven't actually seen what this looks like. So if I add one, this is cool. I'm not gonna add a cool guy, some cool engineer. I won't add a photo, but if I publish those changes, and then I go to localhost courses, and we have to go back from wherever I just was. Don't know why that took so long. Let me look at the terminal and see if there was something that happened there. But I didn't feel that here, so I think we're okay. This is still pretty snappy. All right. So if I go back to just courses, is what I'm looking for. Then test. This is cool. A cool guy, some cool engineer. Great. Oh, what students are saying. So that's cool. Which browser is that? This is Safari. Nothing special. Okay. So testimonials, cool, good. We've got our course type, paid and free. Free is only for members. Default will be paid, which makes it premium. Free courses are accessible to... I don't think I need this description. I'll leave it though. It's kind of like a note to myself. Then we have status. Yeah, I know Safari gets a bad rep sometimes, but I'm trying to not rely on Google so much. So I have Chrome still for things that are Google related. So if I'm looking at YouTube, I'm on Chrome, or like my YouTube Studio. If I'm using Google Sheets or Docs or Drive, anything like that, it's anything Google I think just works better on Chrome, and I think it's their fault. But everything else like that I want to do, I do on Safari. I like to have some kind of illusion of privacy and security, but I know that is probably long gone with how long I've been on the internet. Anyway. Okay, default value draft. Why not Firefox? Man, I've tried it. So the problem with Google products, and I use so many Google products, not just for this, but for like work and stuff. Chromium browsers just work for Google stuff. So yes. And then Safari works really well on Apple, which is what I use for everything else. So I like Apple for the password manager, for like Apple Pay, all that stuff. Yeah, everything just works a little bit better in Safari. But honestly, at the end of the day, like you said, who cares? So I'm just working with what I've got. And I may end up just switching back to Chrome full time, because some things that I like about Safari are coming to Chrome. Like if I get a text message of a code, that automatically will appear in Chrome now. So that was a big thing. And I do still have some luck. I don't know if I can say this on a live stream for YouTube. I still have some luck with an ad block on Chrome. So I don't remember which one it is though. And it's not on this current account. All right. So then we have our launch pricing. When checkout uses a discounted price and the full price is shown crossed out. So this is like a pre-launch situation. So maybe I need to go to courses. So I've got, and this is in cents. So free courses are accessible to any logged in member. Full price. Okay, discounted price. Show discounted price. Use launch pricing. Where's this used launch pricing thing? Well, that's a test. Oh, show discounted price. There it is. All right. So by default, false. When checked, checkout uses a discounted price. I think that's a necessary note. So all of this, granted, did pretty well. And I didn't do very much of this. So that's good to see. I mean, I had to do quite a bit of prompting to get this right, but I don't think this is a helpful note. That's helpful. Fields quote. Yeah, so quotes are fine. I'll figure that out later. Course resources, array, link. Got some stuff. All of this did pretty well. I'm liking how this is. Yeah, this did pretty good. All right, so Stripe price ID. So I'm pretty happy with that. Timestamps true. This is newer that I have seen. Oh, okay. So timestamps equals true. That adds all of the created, deleted at, updated at fields, which defaults to true, which means I don't need that. That's not really how configs work. All right, so that's the courses. I haven't used documents a whole lot, but this is so I can upload documents. And I think I made this, so whatever. All right, lessons would be related to courses. So I've got my lessons here. Make sure that there's no secrets. Does not look like it. Oh, so we're going to have to look at something here. So we've got our test intro. So one thing that I've been working on is getting some video content up on my site. And the best way that I found to do that, instead of like hosting it on YouTube where an unlisted link can just, I serve developers. Like you're gonna know how to go in and share a video that you find on the internet. So if it's an unlisted link from YouTube, then it's pretty easy to share out. Cloudflare Stream makes that a little bit more difficult. So yes, people can still download it, whatever, it's fine. But here I can upload to Cloudflare Stream, and all that's done through Payload. So this is not an upload field, and that's because there are some specific reasons why it's not. First of all, upload field requires a relation to a collection, a media collection specifically. I did not want to do that with my video content. So this is just going to go straight to Cloudflare Stream, and then it'll sync back with the video UID, which is sent back in a response. So works great, love it, very simple to set up. And then this is just a file upload. And we can look at it real quick. If I go to components, admin, I can't wait to get to this stuff. This is all going to be a mess. And yeah, so all of this is the upload field here. So we'll take a look at this to make sure that everything is working right. Interesting. Not a build issue though, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so looking through here, anybody or only admin can CRUD this thing. This is not a necessary note. Are we using the correct slug field? We are. Slug field is taking from the title. Perfect. Then order. Before I use Sanity, their docs suggesting Muck's video. Know that by chance might be something for your case. I have not heard of that. I just know Cloudflare, so let me take a look here. Take a quick little detour. I knew Bunny Stream. I figured that out. Video hosting and streaming API. Ooh, start for free. Yeah, so this is already going to be an issue. I would have to start at the pay-as-you-go, and it would be expensive. Like the 100K free monthly delivery minutes, I think I'll be within that. The courses that I've already worked on are more than 10 videos, so and on demand is fine with me as well. But I would immediately go up to the $20 monthly usage credit. And so for Cloudflare Stream, and I promise I have dark mode on, so I don't know what's happening with my page right now. Where's the pricing here? Yeah, pricing. So starting at 5. Oh, and I get images too. That's nice. Well, what am I doing? Hold on. I just want to see Cloudflare Stream pricing. There we go. Y'all don't need to see my Cloudflare dashboard. Minutes of video stored. Well, that's unhelpful. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm already pretty in deep with Stream now because this is set up. I mean, it would be a pretty easy switch. Anyway, yes, interesting. Thank you for that. I'll take a look a little bit deeper when I won't potentially leak secrets or email addresses. Video UID. All right, so back up at the top. Display order within the module. Module relationship, lesson type. Oh, yep. So we've got video, text, download. So I could add like a PDF or something like that. Though I don't know if I could. Yeah, I don't think I could. Then, but I will add that later, I think. Video, because it would be nice to like share PDFs or anything else like that. Free preview would allow it. So like this here, the first course is a free preview. Anybody can click on it and watch it. That's what that button does. Then the video field, Cloudflare Stream UID. So the description here, though, is missing. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, so video Cloudflare Stream video UID. So why is the description missing? Is it hidden behind my stream button? Interesting. Well, regardless, I don't think it's a helpful note because it's just redefining the label. Text lesson fields. I think that's important for me to see. Then we have documents. Perfect. I don't need timestamps in here. So that defaults to true. That's fine. Get out of here. All right, so lessons are good. But then lessons can also be deleted. So I think I need revalidation here as well. I have to think about that because I don't know if I go to lessons, which is actually, so if I go to courses, module slug, lesson slug. Yes, this would statically be generated then. Or at least server-side rendered. So in that case, we should do some revalidation. And courses, I'm just going to steal this hooks folder, add, revalidate. All right, so we've got revalidate lesson. I don't need tag, but why isn't that? Oh, it's defined never used. Oh, is that true over in revalidate course? It is. Okay, yes, I know those are duplicate right now. Validate lesson. Oh, so sorry. Hope nobody was wearing loud headphones. All right, so courses. Oh, shoot. This is a little bit more complicated because there's a module. So doc slug. Then I could do const module doc dot. Interesting. Okay, so if I do doc, I only see slug in here. Is slug okay? So let's get that. Const module is going to be equal to slug, or sorry, doc as, oh wait, I wonder if I can do, I can, okay. So then const module equals doc module as module dot slug as string. So now I can then add, oops, module, So not the best way to do this, but I got there. All right, perfect. Slug changed, module, previous slug, revalidate courses. So really, this is just going to be module that I need to revalidate. All right, and then we need to do the same thing down here. where I'll get const module and then listen. Module. Sure. Just as easy to write that. All right, revalidate lesson. Lesson paths. Revalidating lesson paths. Perfect. So then I can go here and then we can add our hooks, which we then need our after change. Revalidate, if I could spell, lesson, after delete. There we go. So now revalidation is set up here as well. Then I think we're good with our hooks. That's good. All right, we've got our media. Media shouldn't be anything that's too complicated. This just creates some sizes. Focal point. Oh, all of this stuff is unnecessary. Leave anyway. So if we go to our media, for some reason, my collection for media has a bunch of stuff in it that I don't need. So focal point being one of them. So we don't need this focal point group. I have never used it. I will never use it because Payload does it for me. I don't need to do all that. Oh, look how short my hair was. That wasn't very long ago. Okay, so that'll get rid of focal point here. And I don't think I was using that anywhere else, but here, let me focal. I was not. Perfect. All right, and then I've got a blur data URL. So that comes in handy as well. So media should be good. And we have PNG, WebP, OG. Yeah, so OG needs to be a PNG, which is why it's like that. And then read, I'll leave this as true, but that's because I don't have any private images on here. Otherwise, you could probably just use the override access to make that work. All right, quick water break. Okay, so let's do a couple more. We got some time. Only been going for about an hour. So we've got our media kit submissions. So this is for if we're down here. Let's make sure that these look fine. Yeah, it's not hard to read. A little all over the place. Anyway, so we've got our media kit. This is just like if people want to reach out for any kind of service. I do have this form here. One thing that I want to figure out is this email field. For some reason, this is the only one that if I go, and while that's coming up, because I'm going to need this. This is essentially just form submissions, honestly. That's not even the right email. And I don't care if people have this one, because it's public anyway. All right, so Media Kit is loading up much faster when deployed, as you can tell. Media Kit here. So the email field, I don't know what it is. But the email field has this, it's the only one with this like frosted background. Not even frosted, just a different colored background. I don't know why. So Required. Where are even my styles here? Oh. There's a lot more email here than I thought. There's still no classes though. So it must be, can't be input. Project type. Okay. Well, let's go take a look then. If I look in the input, okay, it is. Hello there, Spider-Man. I only see usernames here. All right, so input context area. So yes. Then again, why is this the only one? Look at that long list here. Flex, height 10, full rounded medium border. Dark, all right, so I'm in dark mode. Dark, disabled cursor not allowed. It's not that. Disabled opacity 50. Is it that? It's not disabled, so it's not that. But like, why? And there's no class name there. Oh, this is company. Where'd email go? Email. So this is where Chrome is going to come in handy again because it has better developer tools. Unfortunately, more than Safari, but that's okay. Oh, media kit is what I meant. Then if I inspect, okay, so dark input email. So dark input. It's in the globals. But why doesn't text get it? Newsletter sign up form inputs. So if I go to subscribe, all right, so it shows up there. Background color. Or maybe I just take off important. Back to Media Kit. Okay, yeah, so for some reason, this got added to dark input, like as a global to my email. So that was a pretty easy fix. All right, so back to the media submissions. Where'd I go? Okay, so media kit submissions. Again, these are really just form fills. So all of that stuff just comes in naturally, and then it sends me an email using payloads, send email. So there's not really anything here to look at. For this one. And there's nothing to delete here because I don't share it publicly. All right, so media kit submissions, donezo. Members I can't open because that has private information. Modules, this is my course stuff again. So we're using the proper slug field. What is this again? Modules. So that's down here in courses. And we can just create a new module so we can look at it. We just have title, order, and then course, and then the slug that gets generated from the payload slug field. So all of this looks like it's doing pretty good too. I don't need timestamps because that is by default true, but I do need a way to revalidate here. So again, we'll just take from lessons and we'll just copy the hooks, paste it here. Revalidate lesson, we're going to rename this to be revalidate module. And then revalidate module after delete. Then we can replace our lesson here with module, which means we then don't need lesson here. And then we can just do our previous slug, get rid of that, then our current slug, and then we can revalidate our courses, module paths. Then we do the same thing here, where we just revalidate courses slug, and then of course, course says validating courses paths after delete. All right, so now we can go back to our modules. And this is the fun stuff when it comes to web development. Really just getting in here and making a difference, you know? This is supposed to be an array. So that we can revalidate course, revalidate course after delete. It's not even course. I want module. Module. Let's try it one more time. Module. Okay. Validate module. And that's too long, so I can just do that, which means that chances are, yes. Validate module after delete is not defined. Should be. Revalidate module after delete is totally defined. Okay, that was weird. It's working though. All right, we've got our title, order, course, and revalidation. Perfect. So modules is done. I think I've got 2 more in me, depending on how this one goes. So config. I don't even think I use my pages collection, honestly, right now. I don't. That's probably a problem. But I just don't really need it yet. Oh, they even just inlined after change here. So do I need pages right now? I don't think I do. So I'm going to skip that. So podcasts, this I do need. So we've got our podcast right here. Why I use light mode, even though I'm in studio lights and using dark mode right now. Whatever. Excuse me. All right, so all of these, well, first of all, slug field needs to change. So we're going to import slug field from payload. And title is what it's expecting. Same situation with SEO. So slug is going to move if I don't do this. So if I can do position. Add link component under slug. I could do that, but I'm not going to. Let's go ahead and get rid of the SEO blocks, or fields, rather, because same way, mine are automatically generated, which then means I can get rid of my tabs, as long as this is not a named tab, and it is not. So we are going to just get rid of all of that. Then I believe we can get rid of this, this, and this. Oh, and this. Okay. So putting the slug field as undefined prevents it from going over to the sidebar, though I don't hate it in the sidebar. It's just not necessary. So that, refresh, content and SEO tabs should go away and nothing should break. Episode number, I wish this wasn't required, but it's okay that it is. Description, video URL, all of this looks good. Video podcast, YouTube ID. Oh, this is hidden, so this is being programmatically generated. Love that for me. Episode artwork and thumbnail, great, yes. I don't have guests. I probably won't have guests. And I definitely won't have guests like that. Okay, external links. URL, let's go ahead and label that as well as this. And to stay consistent, which makes this admin and this admin description not very helpful. Got some tags, fine. Show notes, also fine. Main content for episode page. Transcript is in a rich text field as well. Can be imported from SRT file. I do have sync YouTube. I don't know if I have the SRT file anymore. So I think I can get rid of that unless it's a part of... Nope. So let's get rid of that because I don't see the SRT file anywhere in here. Duration input, hooks. Okay. Minutes. These are all hidden and are used elsewhere. Hooks. Date to ISO string. Yeah, that's fine. Contains sponsored content. Oh, yes, and then I have search. So that's not something that I can handle right now. Okay, so podcasts. I did see the revalidate for the collection, I believe. Yes, revalidate path. I don't think I need this anymore. Check publish, scheduled publishing, but I'll leave it how it is. That will be back to a more thorough scrubbing of this. Promo codes are just coupon codes for courses. And this is, again, pretty recent, so that's helpful. Internal note about this promo code, sure. No unlimited, current uses, read only. And then don't need timestamps. Okay. Short links I never really got to use. I use this as a way to like do my own like Bitly essentially. It's really simple to do, but I'm just not brave enough to do it. So I'll leave it as it is. Subscribers can't touch. Transactions. That's from Stripe. These are test transactions anyway, so if we go and look at transactions, we'll see a couple of transactions, and they should only be applied to me. So yes, member email, and we can see the amount for each of these and if they succeeded or not. So that way I can keep track of transactions within Payload as well. Then of course we have our tutorials, which again, don't think we need. If I go to tutorials, this is like the main bulk of the content on my page. We have content and SEO. The SEO again is generated programmatically. So let's go ahead and get rid of these tabs all the way back here. And then we can get rid of SEO. Then I think, oh, there's that. And then it comes with sidebar fields, but we can import slug field. Import type slug field from payload, get rid of this. These can be our @ alias, I hope. And then we got some other stuff. I guess I don't have that. Slug field title is default, but we want to do our position as undefined, so it stays where it is. So read, public users can read published tutorials, makes sense. And then everybody else can see, or sorry, admin users can see everything. So if you're authenticated, you can see everything. Otherwise, you can only see published content. So typical content management stuff. All right, so we've got a few other things here. Schedule publish is set to true. That just uses the default payload runner, job runner. We got our title, slug field, tutorial link. So this is a link to the front end. Why did my slug field move? It shouldn't have moved. All right, we're back, but slug field still moved. I wonder if this fix hasn't been released yet. So this should move back soon. Then we have a tutorial link there, or description, not required, so I can get rid of that. Brief summary of the tutorial, can leave that. Video URL. It's helpful to see that, as well as the GitHub, how that works. This is generated for me with this hook. Hero is the hero image. So really I can call this something else. I should call this, so label, I'm gonna label this as not hero, just thumbnail, because that's really what it is. It's the thumbnail. And I don't need that. We'll have tags. Documents, which I have not used yet, but I do anticipate using them eventually. Then we've got the body, category relationships, categories, sidebar. There's categories there, can only have one. That's probably going to have to change here soon. Thought stuff moved around. Estimated read time comes from, this will, I have an estimated read time hook somewhere. Yep, calculate read time. So I have a hook that does that for me and writes it here. then hooks, some duplicate stuff elsewhere, probably with podcasts, so I could extract this, but for now, I'll leave it as it is. Duration hours. I'll leave these even though they're only for the admin side, or not even the admin side, just the API. I don't see these descriptions, but that's okay. Okay, published at. Weird. Oh, I thought stuff just crashed. We're good. All right, sorry. Let's get rid of this. So uncheck to make this tutorial publicly accessible. Okay, all that looks good. Lexical node. Oh, so this allows me to import Markdown into my body paragraph here, my body field, but Payload accepts Markdown now. So it still does blocks for me, but other than that, it's not really necessary. All right, so we've got hooks as well, which those are all operating nicely. And then my YouTube stats, which are just ways for me to see and present data from YouTube on that media kit page we looked at. So I don't even think there's anything written here. And so that's going to be a good place to call it quits. So we did a lot of, it was good work, but it was cleanup work. So we did a lot of cleanup work today, working through all of my payload collections. So that was my courses, my lessons, my modules, my tutorials, everything that was not a user or had an email attached to it, we looked at and we fixed, adjusted, dug into a little bit, and just overall got a better understanding of how things are working in my payload configuration. So I feel better about that. Hopefully you learned something from this as I explored the potential uses of payload. I am going to be doing something like this, not necessarily this specifically, on a more regular basis. I think next week I'm going to do or start working on some multi-tenant stuff. Not sure yet, but I know there is a lot of demand out there for learning how to use payload's multi-tenant structure. So I do plan on diving into that quite a bit here in the near future. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, like this video. Your support means so much to me. I also have a Discord channel, which should be in the description. If it's not, I will add it, as well as a newsletter, Next in Dev, and my website that we've been looking at, nlvcodes.com. You can find all of that information, sorry about that, all that information there, as well as how to follow me on Twitter, all that other stuff as well. So this felt good, going through some code, actually getting a handle of what's going on, and then understanding at least the payload side of things. We'll get into the front end stuff here in a little bit as well. So we did fix a few front end things, like the email field. That was nice. So it didn't feel like we did a lot, but we did a lot. So thanks for joining me on this stream, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.